believe that what's happening is that we, as both individuals and nations, are exposed to so many high reward substances, from our coffee in the morning to that first text that we read to our Netflix binge at night, that we're all in a chronic dopamine deficit state, barely able to enjoy the modest rewards of life and experiencing more and more anxiety and depression. And bearing this out, if you look at world happiness surveys, it turns out in the last 20 years, people all over the world, including the United States, are less happy than they used to be, with people in the richest nations being the most unhappy. Rates of anxiety, depression, chronic pain are going up all over the world, with people in rich nations having the highest rates of increase. This incredible paradox can be explained by the notion of all of us being in some kind of dopamine deficit state. So what to do about it? It's easy to remember because it rhymes: abstain, maintain, and seek out pain. To abstain from our drug for long enough for those neuroadaptation gremlins to hop off the pain side of the balance so that homeostasis can be restored. Why is that important? Because it allows us, again, to take pleasure in more modest rewards, but importantly, it also gives us insight. When we're chasing dopamine, we do not see true cause and effect. We need distance from our drug of choice in order to see the true impact that it's having on our lives, our relationships, also our mood, depression, anxiety. So it's very important first we abstain. How long? 4 weeks, again, on average, is the amount of time it takes to reset reward pathways. But if you can't do 4 weeks, do 2 weeks. If you can't do 2 weeks, do a week. If you can't do a week, do a single 24-hour period. And even if it's not long enough to reset reward pathways, it is long enough to experience the withdrawal symptoms. And the universal symptoms of withdrawal from any addictive substance are anxiety, irritability, insomnia, depression, and craving. The next thing we need to do is, after our dopamine fast, we need to figure out how to maintain those gains and re-enter into a healthy relationship with our drug of choice, or we need to figure out how to continue abstinence, depending upon what we decide. And the way to do that, importantly, is to create both literal and metacognitive barriers between ourselves and our drug of choice so that we can press the pause button between desire and consumption and aren't relying entirely on willpower. And that comes in geographical forms: get the potato chips out of the house, turn off your phone. Chronological, this is something like intermittent fasting. I'm only going to be on my device between 9 a.m. and 5 p.m., and otherwise I'm going to give my brain a break. Categorical, that's where my patients who are addicted to video games say, okay, I can't play League of Legends, but it's okay if I play this other video game with my friends. And then finally, we have chemical. There are a lot of exciting medications that are coming out that can now help with this appetitive control. Many of you may have heard of Ozempic, which is now being used for people to lose weight. But interestingly, there are some preliminary studies suggesting it might also help people abstain from alcohol.